Hello and welcome to the Get Shirty podcast, the podcast where we ask our guests about the things in life that just never fail to irritate and gets them all shirty. The chat focuses on home, work and going out, but could go anywhere. And it's not all doom and gloom, as each guest gets a made-to-measure shirt which they design, so we talk about that too. It's funny that, us being tailors. Our guest this episode is the award-winning actress Sarah Moyle. Sarah is possibly best known for playing Valerie Pittman in over 900 episodes of the BBC soap Doctors. It's actually an incredible 938 to be precise. Many will also know Sarah for playing a character in a comedy show within a comedy show, which was in Extras. She's also starred in stage productions in both the West End and on Broadway. If you've ever looked at her Instagram, she also does a pretty mean catwalk walk too. Did I say that right? We talk about acting, flatmate, and the horrors of sneaky developers, amongst other things, as well as tailoring the shirt for Sarah too. Here we go then. One guest, 2 mics, 3 tailors, and a host of irritations. Let's get shirty. Welcome to the Get Shirty podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, that's a pleasure. We've just gone through designing your shirt.
Yeah.
Do you want to sort of talk about it, or should we leave it as a surprise for when it's...
Well, let's just say I'm very, very excited, and I think it's quite classic.
Yeah.
It's quite not, you know, normally people might think my style is a bit quirky, but this I think is going to be grown up. Classic.
It is, yeah, I think it is grown up.
Although I did ask for some tassels on it, didn't I?
Yeah, and they are going on. Yeah, fringe. We're going to put fringe everywhere.
I just want to look like a cowgirl.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't? Yeah, we've all been there. And I have to say, I'm really quite excited to know it's going to feature in one of your catwalks, your hallway catwalk.
Absolutely.
Well, they're not just hallway, actually, are they?
Well, no, they've gone out into the real world as well. Yeah.
So what started those?
Well, I should explain. I should explain to people. I live in a flat in London, and I happen to have. It's a very long, thin flat, and I happen to have a long corridor. And when we went into lockdown, I had a lodger, Charlotte, and she and I decided that if we weren't careful, we were going to end up wearing leggings and t-shirts every day for the next 6 months. And I said, no, we can't do that. Also, we need a project.
All right.
So we decided that we'd do a catwalk once a day upon a theme.
Yeah.
And so we started off gently sort of coming up with our own themes. And then friends of ours started suggesting themes because, of course, we were posting them online. And it really took off. And I would say it's what got me through lockdown.
Really?
Because every morning we had a project or we had something to do. And, of course, it had to be things we could find in our wardrobes. Yeah. We had to be inventive. Yeah. We then started doing film themes. Yeah. So we did Thelma and Louise, we did Titanic, we did Jaws. I think that was one of my favourites. Yeah. And eventually, poor old Charlotte went, I've had enough of your nonsense. Please may I stop? And I was like, yes, probably. Yeah. And this was, you know, we started when we first went into lockdown, and this was July. So we'd been at it for quite a long time, almost exhausted.
So have you got a favourite? What was your favourite?
What was my favourite?
You just said Jaws.
Oh, I've got several.
I've seen the Jaws one. Actually.
Jaws was a favourite. I think superheroes.
Right.
We did with capes and with hair dryers.
Yeah.
So we had billowing capes.
Right. Okay, good.
That when I say capes, it was my fluorescent sort of poncho that I used for cycling. It was things like that.
And what was your superhero name?
Oh, I don't know if I had a... I think my drag name would be Whiskey Pepper. So
nice.
Maybe that, or my stripper name. I don't know which. Something along those lines.
A bit both.
bit, yeah.
Your drag stripper name?
Yeah.
What was it? Whiskey Pepper?
Whiskey Pepper, yeah. My first pet and my mum's maiden name.
Oh, right.
That one, that old chestnut.
That'd make me Spike Hemming, which it
That's
sounds...
quite good. Sounds like a boxing promoter,
Yeah,
I want to
maybe.
say something.
Maybe, yeah. Well, let's go with that. I was taking it a less polite route, so yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, I'll call it. Well, that's not a bad superhero name, I would say.
I think it's a better drag name. Actually, no, a better drag name I came up with was Polytunnels, which works on many different levels.
That's not taken already?
No. No, apparently, it may have been. I've been talking about it for years, so maybe someone's gone. Maybe someone nicked
They're getting quite inventive.
Yeah,
the drag names.
I need to think harder about my superhero name.
Yeah. Because you've been to a DragCon, RuPaul's DragCon.
Yes, I have.
We went to the first. It wasn't RuPaul's DragCon then. It was, I can't remember what it was, but it was somewhere over Olympia way. That was really good. There was quite a lot of the big.
Amazing,
drag stars
yes.
there.
I'm a big fan, I have to say.
Have you got a favourite drag queen?
I have. I do. I've changed recently.
Oh, have you?
Because recently I have had the good fortune to see this particular drag queen a couple of times, and she's a friend of mine, and she is phenomenal.
Right.
And her name is Mary Mack.
Right, okay.
And she blows my mind. She's funny, she looks stunning, but her singing voice is also incredible. Yeah. So she's my favourite.
The sort of triple threat, something like that, isn't that right, Stu?
Yes, absolutely.
Sing, dance, act, everything. Yeah. Because you sing as well, don't you? Sing?
I kind of do. I would say I can sing, but I wouldn't want to listen to it usually.
Really? Yeah.
I would say of the three threats, that's my least threatening.
That's a vaguely argumentative.
Yeah. I can belt out a tune, and I have done musicals.
I was going to say, I thought in doing my research, I thought I'd seen that you'd done
I have done musicals, but I always say to people, I got into musicals in the early years when all you had to do to get a job was be a nice person and a good company member.
Right, okay.
Nowadays, I think they actually require you to have talent as well, which, and all the musicals I did seemed to require cheery Cockney singing.
Oh, right, okay.
Which I can do. I can do that.
Because it was My Fair Lady you did,
I was in My Fair Lady. I did Oliver. Oh My Liver, as we used to call it, because we drank a lot.
Right.
But I also did Les Mis, which wouldn't, on the face of it, seem like cheery Cockney singing, but Lovely Ladies is similar style. Yeah.
It's. I think musical theatre is one of those things. I really enjoy going to see it, and it's one of those things I look at and think, I'd love to do something like that. But the actual reality of remembering words is not my strong point.
It's a special skill.
Just to sort of bring it round to the Get Shirty format, which is very loose at times during this podcast, but essentially part of what we talk about is the things in life which we find slightly irritating.
Yes.
And we've focused those around work, home, going out. We always start with work. So if there's and we spoke to a friend of yours recently, James.
Very good friend of mine.
Yeah, and he straight off the bat he said, "Well, I don't really get irritated," and I thought, "Oh, that's not going to work." But
that's going to be a very short podcast.
Yeah. We'll just have to ramble on.
We had to prod him a bit. We prodded him, and
we did. And
that made him angry.
It's the big long pointy stick that probably did.
Come on, figure something.
So we generally start with work, but are you sort of in general? Do you get irritated? Are you sort of easily irritable?
No, I think I'm quite laid back.
Right.
But that said, there are things that wind me up.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not totally
I'd say
serene.
What I love about Get Shirty is that I think there's levels. Mm-hmm. And if you say to me, "Oh, that makes me a bit shirty," that makes me feel like, well, that's like low level irritation.
Is it even irritation? It's sort of niggly. It's sort of,
Oh, and yes, of course, I do have those. I think I'm rarely very angry, but has been known, of course.
Yeah.
I'm only human.
I think we all get there eventually. There's always something, I think. I'm not a particularly good driver in terms of, I get irritated quite quickly with driving. That's me. So work, though. What about work? Are there...
Work, well... Ironically, what I'm going to say, the first thing that irritates me is punctuality. And the reason I'm saying it's ironic is because I was a few moments late this morning.
Well, and we wouldn't have even mentioned it.
But normally, I am a person who would rather be an hour early than be 1 minute late. Yeah. And I was a good 5 minutes late this morning because, in my defence, I was listening to one of your podcasts. And not listening to the sat-nav. Yeah. And I went wrong and went 20 miles out of my way.
Well, then you must have left in pretty good time even get here.
Because I'm an early person. Yeah. I worked with a director once upon a time who always used to say, early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. Yeah. And that's stuck with me.
Yeah, see.
And I think what really gets my goat is particularly in a work situation when you're rehearsing or when you're on set and you've got time limits. Yeah. And I find it so disrespectful to be standing around waiting for one person who it always feels like, why is your time more important than our time? Or why do you not respect us and this whole process enough to be here to do the work on time? And also, I think that saying is true. It's like you can't just walk onto a set or walk into a rehearsal and just go. You need to be in the zone and prepared. And so, which is why I'm probably excessively early. My friends don't like going on holiday with me because I have to be at the airport 2 hours, 3 days before the flight. But it's lovely. A bit of shopping.
Well, see, the listener won't have seen Stu, our colleague, sort of punch the air in delight because
a kindred spirit.
Honestly,
Stu's an early person, and me too.
But I was. But also,
I'm really not an early person. I'm a late.
Oh,
person.
are you? Oh, are you?
Yeah, not intentionally, but if ever a phrase would apply to somebody, would be, "That's okay, I've still got time." That's me.
Oh, you see, I will err on the side of safety at all times. Yeah. There's a comedian. He used to do a gag about early and late people, and his thing was early people go, "Oh, we need to be there in an hour. I better leave in 5 minutes," and a late person be like, "Oh, we need to be there in 2 minutes. I think I'll paint the front room."
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it is. That's
exactly what it is. I'm a front room painter for sure. Yeah.
Whereas I'm let's prepare.
Well, I quite often get told that something starts earlier than it actually starts, so that I will leave.
That's very sensible.
Yes.
And I understand, life gets in the way. People get distracted and go the wrong way around the M25 if they're me. Yeah. People have kids. It's unpredictable. Transport is unpredictable. But in general, it's if someone's perpetually you go, you're doing something wrong.
Clever people build in that time for things to go wrong. Yes. They think about it and go, well, just in case, I'll leave extra early.
That's what I did this
That's
morning.
what you do. And that's what Stu does as well. And that's what Sarah does as well. Yeah. It is... the thing is, being somebody who's always late, always is a bit strong, actually. If I know it's important, I will... I do try and build...
Won't be as late.
I won't be as late,
Less late.
But as somebody who is generally... on the limit of being late or very close to it, I am aware of how frustrating it must be for people. Yeah. But I can't seem to change my behaviour to make it. Yeah. So I don't like inconvenience people, but every time I'm convinced that it will be different. I'll be on time this time, and I've definitely left enough time this time.
I think there's definitely a gene, isn't there? There's definitely an early person gene and a late person gene. So. But I think it particularly makes me angry in a work setting when there's stuff to be done. And it affects so many people if one person is late.
Especially in your situation, you know, in your sort of career, when there's so many people who have set up cameras, lights, catering. There's lots of people who are dependent on the people being there to do the things that they're meant to do. The higher up the chain someone is, are they more likely to be late or more likely to be early? Or do you think, you know, so like, are the big stars later, do you think?
In my experience, that has been the case.
All right. I won't ask you to name names. I mean,
I can only think of one, which I might mention later. But and I'm going to say something terrible now.
Please do.
But the youngsters these days who are up and coming in the business seem to be a lot more slack. It sounds like relaxed about timing.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Do you think that's the sort of the way the industry's gone, or do you think that's more typical of the youth of today?
Well, I sound like a grumpy old lady, don't I, when saying this. I do think it is a little bit, and this may be another thing that makes me a bit shirty at work, is I do think the industry has changed a lot, and I think there's very much an emphasis on making sure everyone's okay and looking after everybody, and which is great. We do need that, because I think when I was first in it, you know, mental health was not an issue that was dealt with or addressed. Or even spoke about at all. Not spoken about at all, and it certainly wasn't connected to what we do, which can be stressful and weird. But I think there's the flip side of that people then take advantage of the fact that, we're so going to hold your hand and take care of you, and that everybody becomes a bit fragile and a bit like can't stand on their own 2 feet or make sure they get to work on time without being given.
And I suppose as well, being slightly unkind to some people, there's probably people who are aware of that and then utilise it to their, it's all right, I'll say.
Yeah. I don't like to say that, but I think that can happen. I do think it can happen, and I've sort of witnessed it.
Oh, really?
I must say, it sounds like I'm making a blanket statement about all young people, which is absolutely not the case. And this time last year, I was working on a show, touring a play, and there were 3 people in their 20s in the show. I loved these 3 people. Like, I couldn't say they were professional. They were brilliant at their jobs. They cared about their job. I fed off their energy and their enthusiasm, and they were absolutely wonderful. So I must emphasise strongly that I don't mean everybody. But when I encounter it makes me cross.
No, I think that's a valid get shirty. No, it certainly didn't come across as you were labelling all of the youth of today.
Everyone's
as
awful.
Work shy. No, but I totally get that. And so look, from a work point of view, I think they're fair. You know, they're good things to be shirty about. What about home? Have you got
home? I do have a major niggle at the moment at home.
Oh, do you?
Which is not so much making me shirty, but making me slightly devastated. I bought a flat a few years ago at the top of a steep hill in Forest Hill, southeast London, a dead end.
All right.
I'm in a block, but I'm 2 floors up. I was surrounded by trees at the top of this hill, and even though the South Circular was at the bottom of the hill, it was peaceful, it was beautiful, it was quiet, and I had a balcony. I have a balcony, and it was like living in the trees. I was like in a tree house, and I adored this place. And then and I'm on the corner, they suddenly built a huge block of flats behind our block, and I thought, well, that's upsetting. But at least I still have this view. I can see right into Kent one way. And if I look to the side, I can see the O2 Centre. It's fabulous. We can live with this. And then, of course, they put in a proposal to build a block right in front as well. And we fought this. People in the area fought it for 18 months. And I went through that proposal with a fine-tooth comb because I was like, it can't be right. It can't be. And of course, we all felt like we knew this little plot of land would be used for something one day. Yeah. But we all felt at least maybe it'll be affordable housing. Yeah. At least it'll be solving the housing situation. And I found in the proposal a tiny sentence from the surveyor saying, this won't support any affordable housing. So essentially the developers are building a block of 16 flats to the detriment of everybody who already lives there to make money for themselves. And we fought it and we won the first round, and they changed the dimensions by a few centimetres, and now it's going ahead.
Oh, no.
So that's making me really shirty. Plus, at 8 o'clock every morning, the noise outside my windows.
Look, that's
probably more than shirty. That's cross. That's really cross.
let's take it to cross.
Yeah,
we're raising the get shirty level.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should have a little sort of get shirty meter. I mean, that we move up.
It's up near the top. There. Yeah.
So is that when are they going to finish those, or are they?
I don't know.
So you've got to put up with the noise.
I mean,
for an indefinite amount
the block
of time.
behind took about 18 months, I think, altogether.
Oh.
But I tried to be very sort of philosophical about it and go, other than tying myself to a digger, there's literally nothing I can do about it. No. I had that gorgeous view for 7 years, so I should be grateful for that. And if I can't live with it once it's built, then I'll have to come up with another plan. So, yes, I'm trying to not be shirty about it.
Oh, well,
really
trying to be
hard.
very zen about it.
I'm trying.
It is very difficult,
I'm not succeeding yet.
Yeah, the dream of that one-storey bungalow was gone.
Yeah.
It's, I thought I was sort of projecting forward in my head, and I thought you were going to say, and they cut the trees down, and that's awful. But and then it got worse. It's worse.
Yeah, other than that, home things. I've had lots of lodgers.
Right. Okay.
Over the years.
Yeah. And are you good with
I'm pretty good. Yes, and I tended to either only have friends or people who've been recommended.
Right.
But even very good friends can sometimes make you a bit shirty.
Well, that's it, because we've all got our ways of doing things. And I think, I've never really had a lodger. I've had friends stay for like a little bit of an extended period of time, but the trouble is, I suppose you'll always view it as your space that somebody else is in, rather than a shared space, maybe. I don't know. How it is?
And what I sort of think I pride myself on is making it a home for people away from home.
Right.
And which is great. And then very occasionally I've started to feel like, it doesn't feel like my home anymore. I feel a bit like I'm a guest in their home. Yeah. And furniture started being moved around, and
really.
And I thought, one thing. For my terrible sense, I worked in Birmingham for many, many years. So I was away Monday to Friday every week. And one weekend I came home and I thought, where are all my cushions? In the sitting room. It's very peculiar. And the lodger had not replaced my cushions. She just put her covers over my cushions.
Oh, really? Wow.
Without a discussion.
No, not even asking.
No. Things like that. Little things like that make me...
Well, that's... I would say that's crossing the line.
I would. I thought it was a bit peculiar.
I bet your face was a picture. Then did you say anything, or did you take the covers off and then? I
think I was trying to make light of it, and I said, couldn't our cushions live in harmony with each other? Could we have both? And she was like, oh well, I thought we'd always planned to get rid of those. Had we?
Oh. Oh, now that is next level.
That's next very level. Straight, yeah.
Especially as you were away all week, and then just the following week, did you think, what am I going to come back to? What's going to be changing?
There was a period of time when I was like, what's going to have moved? Yeah. What's going to be?
Moving.
The locks could have been changed.
Hello, I'm back.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's.
But I understand as well, because this person was in my flat 80% of the time, and I was there 20% of the time. So it was their home, essentially. But
Yeah, it's that again. Though it's that. I suppose it's that consideration sort of thing again, isn't it? You know, it's just like, oh, that's fine. You know, I'll do that. That's fine.
It's quite a task, isn't it? I think to live with somebody who's not your partner or your children, or to live with somebody. In any way is a dance. You know, you have to sort of compromise, and
that's a good way of putting it, actually. Yeah, but they took a misstep there. They trod well and truly on your toes in the dance of living.
I've got more stories, but I think I should leave it there.
Yeah. Well, maybe once we've stopped recording.
Maybe in part 2.
yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, that would make me shirty.
Oh, well, yeah, that did make me a bit.
I mean, I'm quite particular. That might be the word about certain things. So, and if they aren't, I don't know. I was going to say, if they're not done a certain way, then I can get a bit niggly, I suppose. Get a bit shirty. Yeah. Well, like previous guests talked, dishwasher came up more than once about how a dishwasher was loaded, and I'm a bit funny about it.
Oh.
I'm not too bad, but that can be one of the things where I feel like I've got to reload it to how I like it.
No, I get that. I've got a friend who's very, very particular about how you pack the shopping at the end of the conveyor belt. Has to
into bags ready for the right shelf that it's going to go on.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. That.
Whereas I'm like that. Woo, lob them in.
Well, yeah, especially certain supermarkets, you've got no choice.
No, because you haven't got time.
Yeah. You haven't got time. You've literally just got to hold the bag at the end and just shovel it in.
Scoop it in.
Yeah. See, I'm not good with. I don't understand. Oh yeah, no, that's a properly good get shirty. Yeah. So when you were away, so that was filming Doctors, was it? Birmingham.
Yes.
I had 938, was it, episodes? Something like that.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Yes. Certainly felt like that.
Incredible.
It was, yes.
That's
well,
incredible.
and going back to the feeling, getting shirty about people being late, that was a particular example of a job where there was no time to spare. No. It's famously filmed very, very fast. Or was. It's gone now.
Yeah, I know. Only last 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. So we couldn't afford to have people be late because then you'd get behind schedule. But yes, for many years I would drive up to Birmingham on a Sunday night and drive back to London on a Friday night. Yeah. Which was exhausting.
Yeah, I bet it was. And especially learning lines. I mean, how in advance would you get a script?
We'd usually get a script about a week in advance.
Right, okay.
But more often than not, on a job like that, things change. As you know, you could be handed a page on the day and go, right, this is the new scene, or these are the line changes. Pink pages, we call them. If you've got script on a pink page, it means it's different. Yeah.
Did you ever resort to the Marlon Brando, have the lines written down on a piece of paper stuck down the front of somebody's shirt?
No, I never did that. I have seen that happen. But also because I played a receptionist, if I needed to, I could very easily have had lines behind the reception desk.
Sneaky.
But I never did. I have. Yeah. See, I've seen people hold up boards with lines on when it wasn't going well.
Oh.
I'm very lucky in that I've got quite a good capacity for learning.
Right.
Like they go, and the other
retain them.
Yeah, and it's a certain type of learning on a job like that because you do a scene and 5 minutes later if someone held a gun to your head and said, "What are the words for that?" and you go, "No, they've gone. I'm on to the next one."
Yeah.
But when I first started, I'd watch the regulars pick up a script, look at it for 5 seconds, go, "Okay, we're ready, action." And I thought, I'm never going to be able to do that. Yeah. How do they do that? It's a magic power. Yeah. Maybe that's my superhero.
Yeah.
Magic line learner. But after a while, it's like any muscle. When you work it every day, you do. And the other thing about Doctors was they weren't terribly strict.
Right,
on word order.
So you didn't have the writer sort of there going, no.
Right. And as long as you basically got the gist.
Got it down. Yeah. Because I've heard actually a phrase I use a lot. I hesitated then because I was trying to think of a different way of wording it. But here we go. I listen to a lot of podcasts and I seem to say that every podcast, but Doctors has come up a lot actually in other podcasts of people talking about how sad it is that it's gone
Yeah.
because of what it would do for the industry. In that new directors would come through, they'd work on Doctors and go through new writers. It would give actors their first sort of chance of doing a filming thing. It was a really good sort of learning
training
ground
for
people.
It really
and that's
was.
gone.
It really was, and it's. I think it's devastating to the industry, because back in the day, it would be the Bill would be a similar type of a thing, which would employ so many actors and so many people get their first
break
go on telly. And I always used to say it's like TV boot camp. Doctors, you learn so much very quickly, and it's a brilliant place. Was a brilliant place for that, but not just the actors, the camera assistants. I saw move from being a camera assistant up to being on camera. They'd have new directors through. I wrote 2 episodes.
I was just going to say,
I never get to do that anywhere else, but they let me have a go at doing that.
Didn't fancy doing the directing.
I never fancied that,
because some of the other cast
some of the cast did do that. I that wasn't really my thing. I think I think I care about acting too much, and I would have been wrong side of the camera for me.
Right, okay.
But I did enjoy the writing.
Yeah. And so did you have experience of script writing before, or did you just go, well, I've done this for so long now, I can...
No, not really. I think I used to dabble in stand-up a bit back in the day, and I'd written, when I was younger, I wrote a lot of sketches for things. Okay. I'd always be writing sketches in those days when you didn't censor yourself, whereas nowadays I think I'd go to write and go, oh, that's going to be rubbish. So I don't bother, whereas in my 20s I'd just throw it all out there, which I wish I could still do that. But in terms of writing an actual TV script, and it came about kind of suddenly because I went to one of our exec producers and I said, I've got an idea for my character, who was called Valerie. So I've got an idea for Valerie, and I put it to him. And I thought it would be sort of to last a few episodes. And he went, oh, well, I like the idea, but I think it's just 1 episode. And I said, can I write it? And he went, yeah, okay. And I walked out of the office going, oh, what have I done? I didn't mean to say that. But then I thought, oh, this is good experience. And it was fantastic. A steep learning curve.
And how long did you get to write it, or was it relatively relaxed?
It was quite relaxed for me. I think that the regular writers that they had, I think they would have 6 weeks. I had a lot more than that because I think they were kind to me because I was obviously filming 12 hours a day sometimes as well as trying to do that. So the process took a lot longer. But I learnt a lot doing it.
And have you written anything else since?
Well, funnily enough, James Barrascale, one of your former guests, and I...
he did a couple of episodes of Doctors, didn't he?
Yeah, he was my love interest for a while, which was sort of in the middle of COVID filming, so we never had to snog, which we were quite relieved about because we're such good mates. We thought that would probably be a bit weird. But yes, he and I have been having a bash at trying to write a script. But then he got very successful. He was being very busy as an actor, and so we kind of stopped for a bit. But we're hoping to rev that up again.
Right. Oh, great.
Yeah.
And do you enjoy the writing process?
I enjoy the collaboration. I don't think I'd be a very good person. I'm not very good when I'm on my own. I need motivation. There's some famous writer who says, I enjoy having written, I don't enjoy writing. And I think I'm maybe one of those. Yeah.
I'm cutting in with some info.
Oh, are you? Excellent.
The quote was by Dorothy Parker.
That sounds... Yes.
I hate writing, I love having written.
Having written, yes. I think that's that.
Yeah,
I'm that sort of a person.
Yeah, and I do get that. I like the ideas. I like having the ideas. And then if I'm not pushed, or if there aren't other really good people who I happen to be around and work with, a lot of them wouldn't happen, you know.
I think collaboration is key a lot of the time, yeah.
We have exciting news. The Get Shirty podcast is going live. Yes, you will be able to see the podcast being recorded live for the very first time, and it's all part of this year's Tunbridge Wells Fringe Festival. It's going to be on July the 4th at the Old Auction House just off the Plantage in Tunbridge Wells. It is a ticketed event, just £3 per ticket, but numbers are limited, so booking sooner rather than later is advised. And you can do that by going to twfringe.com and just search for Get Shirty. We'll be announcing our guests soon on one of our social media platforms, or all of them probably, not just one of them. Obviously can't wait to see you all there at the Tunbridge Wells Fringe Festival. So, July 4th, the Old Auction House, Tunbridge Wells Fringe. Don't forget to book soon, otherwise you will miss out and you'll have to get all shirty. That's work and home niggles done. Now it's just going. Well, we've got two. There's two more niggles that we'll do.
Two more niggles.
Yeah, one is. We'll come to that a bit later. Yeah, but so now it's going out. Have you got any niggles about going out? Yeah, sort of that a night out, being
going
out and about.
out in the world.
In the world, yeah. So the sort of the socialising side of life.
Going out. The actual sort of going out part in London. My main niggle, I would say, is people who walk up to the ticket barrier and then decide to look for their ticket. I think that's my number one.
Is it? That's pretty.
I think that's not too bad, is it? If that's the only thing that makes me irritated.
It's that lack of foresight. See, for me, it's a similar thing. It's the people who just stop dead
on the other side.
When they're walking down the street and they're looking at the phone, and they just go, "I can stop now," because there won't be anybody behind me.
The double whammy for me is the people who stop to look for their ticket, the ticket barrier. Then they go through, and then they stop directly on the other side to put the ticket away.
Yeah, nice.
I did also. I can't bear an ambler. Right. Oh, I can't.
Well,
and I think that's I'm programmed living in London to be a fast walker. But I was lucky enough to work in Stratford upon Avon all last summer.
Right.
The level of ambling there is it's Olympic level ambling.
Yeah.
Goes on there, and I'm
daydreamy walking.
That drives a bit nuts.
Yeah.
I'm also a very keen cyclist, so I will go out and about on my bike in London. Yeah. And cyclists who go through red lights give us cyclists a bad name, and that really does make me shirty. Yes.
Yeah. So it's people, basically.
It's people. Other
people doing what?
Other people.
Inconsiderate. Yeah. Well, but it's those sort of inconsiderate people, isn't it? Really, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Or perhaps it's not even inconsiderate. It's that sort of lack of. Just that lack
awareness
of
and other people. In terms of going out, socialising out, I can't think of anything that makes me cross. Apart from perhaps I'm not really a person to go out to clubs or anything these days. But if you're, I'm a big drinker. I like a drink.
You like a drink.
But being at a bar and being ignored if you're at a bar, becoming aware that it's probably because of your age.
Right.
I've had that happen to me on a number of occasions. Being like seeing everybody served around you.
Yeah.
And realising it possibly is because you're an older lady.
That sort of.
I've had that.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like wrapped up with you must be with somebody else, rather than you might be at the bar for yourself?
Possibly. Maybe I'm not. I don't give off that I need a drink energy. Although I think I look like that most of the time.
Is it because you're giving off I've already had a drink energy?
Maybe that, you see, maybe I'm coming from.
I meant like when you're out. Like, not now.
Not now.
I'm not trying to imply, although the swaying when you walk through the door was a little off.
I had a weird thing at the bar the other day with my friend from the north, from Preston. Just reminded me, we walked into the pub and there was a queue to the bar.
Right. Like an organised line.
A single line. Because he went up to the bar, waiting for a drink. He started kicking off. They went, Oi, what are you kidding about? He went, don't be acting queues up in the north. What are you talking about? A single line.
I have seen that also.
That's the first time I don't go to the bar that much. Yeah, so he was all weird.
It's not a very efficient use of space in a bar, is it?
No, 4 bartenders.
You
think you would have 4 queues then?
Well, yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what normally happens if you're
all lined up. I'm stood at the bar, so I need a drink.
So he ended up nearly out of the door. He wasn't happy.
Yeah. See, actually thinking about that, I mean, I don't really drink anymore, so I'm working on old memories here, but going to a bar and people who stay at the bar when there's no seats, I think that's a bit...
selfish.
Yeah, sort of mind out the way so people who need a drink can get a drink.
And ship
and then
out.
Move. Yeah,
exactly. No, I'm with you. That's another one.
Does that still happen? I don't really go to it.
But I think that comes back to our not being aware of other people.
That lack of consideration.
Yeah,
it's funny, isn't it? I think that encapsulates getting shirty quite well. That sort of lack of consideration, because really, like we're not talking about, as you said at the beginning, that get shirty phrase sort of implies a general annoyed, slightly pissed off. Really, is what we're talking about. Yeah, and it's those sorts of things that really can drive you.
But they can build, can't they? Like one instance of that can make you slightly irritated, but if you're out and about and that sort of thing keeps happening, that it can be an accumulative effect. I think.
Yeah, I'm not good with drivers who don't wave and say thank you.
Nor drivers who don't indicate they're going off the roundabout.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. And now, if I'm distracted, the roundabout, I do forget, but that's, that is a forgetting rather than consciously deciding not to.
Deliberately, yes. Yeah.
In fact, I've talked about one, I won't go into the roundabout again. But it is it's that sort of just general lack of consideration of going, oh, someone's done something nice, I can be nice back. Yes. That's consideration, I think.
I find that shocking.
It's funny, I think it is, I'm with you, it's the general lack of consideration, the general lack of people sort of just thinking about people other than themselves, I think.
Yeah.
And it is that...
It's spatial awareness, awareness. Yeah.
Just stopping, look at the phone, not getting to one side, blocking doorways, not saying thank you. Yeah.
But people... I mean, it's endless now, isn't it?
Go.
People who walk down the street but sort of like 5 abreast.
Yeah.
Ambling.
Yeah. And
just...
don't huddle up for you to go past. And sort of even give you a look as if when you have to go out into the road.
And you have to step in over.
It's really weird.
Runners that run side by side on the pavement.
Yeah.
Don't go.
I mean, even cyclists, and obviously I'm a big cycling fan, but if they're out on a busy road, and it's not necessary for 2 cyclists to be cycling next to each other.
4.
They can do that in the park.
Yeah. It is that, I suppose it's going back to what we were saying earlier, that general, it's either I think I'm more important, so what I'm doing is the most important thing, or just that lack of thinking that there might be other people who are doing something.
I think that might be, maybe, under the whole umbrella of getting shirty, maybe that's my top thing, is people who think they're more entitled than other people.
Yeah.
That's another podcast, Under the Umbrella. That's a different one.
That's a good one, though. We could do that as an offshoot of this one. We've got a live podcast coming up, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So far. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Well, to you it did. Not to anybody else.
See, that's one of those ideas that perhaps should have stayed in my head. But I'd forged ahead and then said, look, what I've organised. So, doing that.
Happening.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. We'll see how that goes. Sam doesn't know she's got to go on stage yet, but...
I've got a question for you. Have you got any stories from extras?
That are repeatable.
Well, and I know, I'm just trying to think. It was such a long time ago now.
Did you enjoy it, though?
It was one of my most favourite jobs I've ever done in my life. And although we, as the sitcom within the sitcom, were in 5 out of the 6 episodes, because it was all on one set. Of course, we filmed it all relatively quickly.
Right.
And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was terrified to begin with because I was so in awe of them. But I loved it. And what I loved best of all was that Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant aren't precious about their material at all. Right. They encouraged us to improvise.
Oh, great.
And a lot of the stuff we improvised ended up in the final script. And best of all, Ricky Gervais doesn't like working past 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Right. So the crew love him, the cast love him for that, and he gets the best work because no one's sitting around going, oh God, it's past 6 o'clock and I wish I was with my family.
Yeah.
We also used to have a barbecue lunch on a Thursday. So I remember in the grounds at Pinewood.
Right.
It's
good time. So how long were you out filming for?
Only about I think it was just over 2 weeks.
Right.
And then I went back a while later and did the Christmas special.
Right.
Which I was only on for a few days, I think. If that might have only been a day. But fantastic
Because you worked with some. So who were the other people in your sort of scenes?
So in the
because you were playing a character in the sitcom
within the sitcom. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't get it. That was your one, wasn't it?
The catchphrase. Yeah. I don't get it, Mr Stokes. And having a laugh. There's one episode. If eagle-eyed people watching it will notice, we obviously had a problem with corpsing, laughing at him because it was very funny.
He's sort of bad for that anyway.
And he's very bad at that. And there's one scene that made it into the edit where I'm literally looking up at him and I'm clearly just...
Oh, really brilliant.
And it got through. I don't know how it got through. But so, yes, in our bits, there was me, Liza Tarbuck... Oh, this is going to be bad, isn't it? I can't remember people's names. Andrew Buckley. It was 2006.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, a long time ago. But
did you do stuff with? Was Keith Chegwin in with any of your bits?
Keith Chegwin was in
Les Dennis. Yeah.
Les Dennis.
They did that
Les,
scene.
Les Dennis wasn't. He was in the first series, I think.
Because they were. That was a panto. They were in a panto. Yeah. Was Keith Chegwin in?
Keith Chegwin was. We had the brilliant scene where he's rehearsing and Ricky's face going, don't look straight into camera. Do it. You just said your daughter. You buried your daughter. Why would you? Yeah. It was just absolutely brilliant. Of course, it took forever, and we were sort of in the background as a person. We had Chris Martin was in one of our episodes.
How amazing!
I think those probably are only two celebs, because the celebs tended to be kind of other parts of the story.
So Lisa Tarbuck, as you said, is it Lisa or Liza? Is it Liza? Lisa?
I would say
Liza. I've always said Lisa, but it's a Z, isn't it?
It is a Z, yeah. Lisa.
Andrew Buckley, as you said. Jamie Chapman with brains for the glasses.
That's the one. Lovely Jamie Chapman.
Sarah Moyle, I've never heard of her. And then Keith Chegwin was the TV presenter.
Yeah. But wonderful thing to have done. To have that freedom, I suppose, to be able to sort of improvise. And were you confident? You know, you're obviously a very confident person, but did you feel like, I'll just go for it?
I was terrified. I was terrified to begin with, but they do make an environment where you feel like, it's okay. You know, we can go for it. And I do really enjoy that, not being confined to things. And also, you just never know what's going to come out of that sort of work. But I love that job. I absolutely love that job. And it's one of those jobs where I remember exactly where I was when I got the call to say you've got the job.
Right.
I was walking down the street in Hull.
Oh, really?
Because I was up there doing a play. But you never quite know how a job like that, like how big that job is going to end up being. And it's still, to this day, something I'm very proud to have on my CV.
Quite rightly so. You know, it's an amazing thing to have done. And somebody who has... and that was, I suppose, coming off the back of The Office as well, wasn't it? So The Office had been...
that was already massive.
So that was a massive thing. And to work with somebody who has got that body of work and is clearly still trying to build a body of work and was to say, come in and do what you want to do.
Yeah. It's still one of those... In fact, quite a lot of work you end up doing, you go, why did they pick me? Right. Any actress worth their salt could have done what I did, I got lucky. Yeah. Why? Why did they pick me? Yeah. I still don't know. I remember making a joke in the audition and going out and going, oh God, why did I do that? Why did I do that? But it could have been that joke.
Yeah. So did you have to audition in front of Ricky?
I did one audition for just the casting director, and then I got a recall in front of Ricky and Stephen. And
I bet that was a moment walking into that room. Yeah, I bet
it was terrifying. I was terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I find doing the podcast frightening enough, because you think, oh, what if I say something stupid? What if I, luckily Stu cuts all the stupid stuff I say out.
Brilliant. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. It's just a bit weird having one person talking on the podcast.
yeah. There's none of it. And it's hosted by nobody.
I wish I had a permanent editor who was with me all the time to cut out all the stupid things that I
God, you and me both. Yeah, that's a great idea. Actually, if you could just follow me around, just pretend you didn't say that. But so I find that, I don't like listening back to myself, and I do listen back to them, and I don't like it. But so going into that situation where you've got to sort of, you're pitching, really, aren't you, for the job?
I still get terrified at auditions. It doesn't, in fact, I think if anything, it gets a bit worse as you get older.
Okay.
Especially as we've been through this whole period when nobody was auditioning for anything.
Yeah. All self-tapes.
And then now it's all self-tapes. So if you do get to go into a room, I find it excruciating.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I mean, I prefer it. I definitely prefer it, but I still get very nervous.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. It's, what about in front of the camera? Have the nerves of that gone, or,
That was the beauty of doing Doctors day in, day out for 7 years, is you don't get that terrifying... Like, I used to get a terrifying rush of adrenaline when somebody said action, which made me a bit... that goes after a while when you're just doing it day in, day out. But I know also now, if I were to go on and do another telly show, I know I'd be nervous again, because it would be a different setup, unfamiliar.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a bad thing either, to still have those nerves.
And is that a stage nerves slightly different to screen nerves?
Yeah,
right.
Totally. Because on screen, you know that actually if you do fluff the lines or fall over, go, I will just do it again. I think the screen nerves are just like, oh, I want to be good. I want to be as good as I can be, or as good as the person you think I am when you gave me this job. Stage nerves are just like, I've got to get through this. When the curtain goes up, I've got to get from the beginning of this thing to the end of this thing and do it correctly.
And not forget my lines.
And not forget the lines and the moves and be wearing the right outfit.
Is that? Have you ever gone on stage and gone, oh no, I suppose not
sure
every
I
show
have.
has dresses, do they?
No, I'm sure I have. I do remember I was working
shoes
in oh no, I have. I think I have.
Gone out in your slippers?
I must have done. I must have done in all these years. But I was once back in the day working in rep in Scarborough at the Stephen Joseph Theatre, and we were doing 2 shows, and the girls' dressing room and the boys' dressing room were sort of on one side of an atrium. And I do remember coming out one night wearing an outfit, and everyone else came out, and I was like, I'm in the outfit for the other play. I don't having to go get changed.
Oh God!
Don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
Don't know how I did that, but yeah.
Yeah. But you didn't actually make it onto stage.
No,
right.
I wasn't actually on the stage, but I'm sure I have had wardrobe mishaps.
Yeah. I've done odd shoes, but I mean, it doesn't really matter so much.
Yeah.
if you're not being stared at by lots of people. If I walk in here and go, so that's not so bad. But you didn't do their Stormzy slippers. Have you ever seen that interview? Stormzy was picked up. He was on the BBC Breakfast, and the interviewer says, that's a really interesting look you've got there. Are those slippers that you're wearing? He was like, oh yeah, the car was early. I woke up late and I just ran out the house. These are my slippers.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and he's like being all cool, but he's there on Breakfast TV with his slippers on. Yeah, it's quite sweet, really, isn't it?
Why not? Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
He could have just styled it out and just gone, and suddenly
yes,
sold a
and
lot
you
of
look.
slippers. But
suddenly
no.
Everyone.
yeah, but no. From a work point of view, then nerves are not something that you struggle with. What about Broadway? Was that a different sort of nerves, or because you did Broadway for
for a
while, didn't you? Yeah,
6 months. 6-ish months.
Right.
It was that was obviously an extraordinary job. But we had been doing the play we did out there was called Jerusalem by Jez Butterworth, and we'd done it at the Royal Court and we'd done it in the West End. So by the time we got to Broadway, we were.
Was it the same cast?
It was not
predominantly,
more or less.
Right.
More or less, we had a few changes, and a few of us did the whole lot from beginning to end.
Right.
So by the time we got there, I think we were all so settled in those roles, and I had a relatively small part. I had a bit at the beginning and a big scene at the end.
Right.
So yeah, no, not so much. It was very exciting though.
Yeah, I bet.
It was very exciting, and they have a sort of like a different thing on Broadway that I don't think we have here in the West End. Is that if a famous person comes to see a show in the West End, you might hear about them being there.
Yeah.
You might know they were there. But if a famous person comes to see a show on Broadway, they automatically come backstage and are introduced to everybody.
Oh, really?
And we had a little sort of green room, and we'd get a tannoy announcement saying, could you please come down to the green room to meet Meryl Streep? Things like that. And you go, what?
Really? And it was Meryl Streep, one of the people?
Well, she was, I had a hug. She gave me a hug.
Wow.
But what was funny about it was because this went on for 6 months, by the end of it, we were all so blasé about it. And they'd be like, could you please come and meet Robert De Niro? And we'd be like, oh, I just want to go to the pub. I'm going to go out the back door. But it was mad. It was like every night there was someone extraordinary waiting to meet us. Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it, what life can throw at you and becomes normal? I mean, so who was the best person in the green room? You know,
I think
Meryl
Streep was probably my top. Robert De Niro was quite intimidating.
Yeah.
There was one day I walked in there and it was Anna Wintour from Vogue, Carla from Cheers, Rhea Perlman, and the girl from Glee, and they were all literally and Sting and his wife.
Right. Oh, of course,
in the same room. It was just like very I mean bonkers, absolutely bonkers.
Really bonkers. Well, what an experience. That.
I know.
And they all got to meet you.
Yeah.
Lucky them.
Yeah. Exactly. that is the point, actually, Stu.
Stem's at home now going, oh,
do you remember that day?
She was amazing.
Remember meeting Sarah Moyle?
Yeah.
Well, and weird things happen when you get to, this sounds like I'm so showing off. I am a bit.
Show off. You're allowed to.
Well,
that's what the podcast is about, actually.
A couple of years after doing that job, I was sitting at home being very unemployed. I was teaching a thing called monkey music, which is tiny tots, shaking bells. Right. And I was preparing a lesson for the following day. And I got a call from Mark Rylance, who, of course, was the fabulous, incredible lead of Jerusalem, saying, what are you up to next week? And I said, well, nothing much really. I'm sort of teaching. He said, because I'm doing this film and we've had to rewrite a few scenes and we need a mumsy type.
Right.
Would you be free? It's just a few lines, just one scene. And I said, yes, Mark Rylance, for you, I will absolutely be free. And he said, great, okay, that's fabulous. You're going to great. Sean will phone you in a sec to make arrangements. And I put the phone down and went, I don't, is that the person who's sorting out the travel or the wardrobe or whatnot? 5 minutes later, Sean Penn phoned me on my home phone in southeast London. And I turned into my mum. I was like, hello, it's so lovely to talk to you. How nice. Thank you for calling. Oh, no, it's a pleasure. I don't mind it. It was bonkers. And I remember picking the phone down and going, there's no one here. I want to tell someone that this just happened.
So who did you call? Did you call somebody and tell them?
I phoned my mum and went brilliant. But the reason I say that is because we'd met Sean Penn after the show at Jerusalem one night. And so when Mark said, oh, I've got a few suggestions, and he said, oh, this is Sarah. Oh, you saw Sarah in the show. Sean Penn went, oh, yeah, she'll do. So it's amazing. I always think it's amazing the way things line up to make good things happen. Yeah, it's kind of...
Was that the one was Mackenzie Crook in that as well, Jerusalem?
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that. I missed it. It left London before I got to see it.
Yeah, it was extraordinary. And they brought it back recently, last year.
Yeah, it's gone again.
Gone again now, yeah.
It's had good reviews.
Yeah, amazing. Best. I mean, I'm obviously supremely biased, but it is the best theatre show there's been in the last 10 years, I reckon. Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Lovely to do that kind of work.
Oh, amazing. Again, I'm like, how did I get that job?
I think it's by being good.
But anyone could have done that. Anyone could have done the part I did. It didn't even rely on being a certain age or having a certain accent or...
But then it's having that thing that they were looking for and talent and...
I Yes, you're very kind, but I'm like, it seems like a complete giant fluke to me that I'm kind of...
I had a big bag of money that I thrust at them and said, I would like to do this, please. Yeah. Which, well, I'm sure some of that does go on.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
You ready for the last Get Shirty? Right,
yes.
Oh. So here comes the very long and waffly I'll try and keep it short. So this Get Shirty is called Off the Cuff because you don't know what it is.
Right.
And Get Shirty, there's the pun, off the cuff. Now yeah, exactly. It works on many levels, except for we weren't sure how to get people to pick them, so we put them in a hat.
Amazing.
So it's, and we've talked about changing it, and we started this with Adam Buxton was the first, and he suggested, maybe pin them to a shirt cuff. And we thought, that works. And at the time I said, yeah, great, what a great idea, we'll do that. And then we decided, no, we'd like to keep them in the hat. But now I feel like I've got to explain it every time. So, in the hat, off the hat, I don't know, we can't think of a way. In there are lots of little suggestions of things. So, pick one out of the hat, off the cuff, and then I'll just keep throwing the words in there. It'll stick. And then see if there's anything about the thing that you've picked that makes shirty or not.
Brilliant, I love it. Holidays.
So, are you even a holiday type person?
Yes.
Do you like a holiday?
I love a holiday. Yeah. I love a travel.
Oh, do you?
Maybe what makes me most shirty is not having enough money to do it as often as I'd like to do it. Yeah. I love a holiday.
They're not cheap, are they?
No, depending on the sort of thing you want to do as well. I think I'm a bit over-ambitious with the things.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Start big. Yeah.
Start big. So has it got to be going abroad?
Not necessarily,
right.
But I do like a big adventure.
Right.
Yeah.
Proper adventure? You know, are you sort of trekking in the mountains type adventure?
I would do that if I could. Yeah, I did... at the time I called my midlife crisis tour.
Excellent.
To Southeast Asia.
It's a perfect tour.
And I went to Thailand, Laos, Cambodia and Vietnam.
Okay.
Nothing made me cross about that, so I should probably get off that subject. Yeah. Nothing made me sure, but holidays in general.
See, I was expecting you to say, because you already said earlier, I'm always super early to the airport,
yes.
things like that. You know, I thought you were going to say, being late or delayed flights or something.
Yes,
you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unreliable transport in general makes me angry.
Yeah, that's fair.
Other people again.
Yeah.
other people on transport.
Yeah. See, I'm with you on not going on enough holidays is something to get shirty about.
Yeah.
I'm sort of with you on that.
Yeah.
That's quite a good one. The transport. I'm not a great traveller because I'm always late, as we've discussed. So the chance of missing a connecting train is quite high.
Quite high.
Yeah, and cause stress. So yeah, I'm not a good traveller from that point of view. But so you good at travel? You enjoy it?
I think I'm a good traveller. I'm also quite adventurous, as in I'll go by myself.
Right. Oh, okay.
And have done.
Right.
For sort of many things, but I think the main thing is things not going according to plan, like transport, connections, things like that.
Are you a meticulous planner of a holiday?
I'm quite a planner. Yeah. I like to know. Yeah, I don't think I'm the sort of person who's so adventurous that I could be backpacking somewhere and go, I don't know where I'm sleeping tonight.
Right.
I don't know how to do that.
See, that's more me.
Yeah. No,
I'll turn up somewhere and not know where I'm staying.
Yeah, I need to know.
Have you got a dream holiday? Sort of the pinnacle.
Oh, next on my list, I would love to do Costa Rica. I love anything that involves nature and animals. And I did, one of my other amazing adventures was I cycled around Rwanda with a team for charity.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to go and see the gorillas and that mountain gorillas. That was extraordinary. Absolutely amazing.
Frightening or
a bit scary? Yes,
right.
They said the guides who are amazing said, if the silverback does the chest beating, he's just trying to assert his authority and just make yourself smaller and don't look directly at him. And he did.
He does.
It's like here.
Yeah.
Go small.
It's probably good advice for life, isn't it? It's like, something's intimidating, be small, don't look at it.
Yeah.
So he did, yes. We had a guy in our group who was very tall and a big bloke, and he was obviously trying to assert authority. And the minute that started happening, I literally went into a ball and went so small and didn't look up. So I missed the whole thing. I didn't see any of this happening because I had my eyes like just in case he thought I was looking at him.
Yeah. 2 days later, you still got your eyes closed just in case.
But yeah, I think anything involving nature and animals. I'd like to go to Japan as well. That's something I've never done.
Yeah.
Also. I've also got an odd one. I did a play last summer about the Falkland Islands.
Right.
And I would love to go and visit the Falkland Islands.
Yeah.
Which would not be probably a relaxing, warm holiday in any way. But
quite a place though.
I mean, very difficult to get to easily.
Yeah.
But I'd like to do that.
Yeah. I'm sort of being the age I am, the Falklands is, when I picture it as I thought about it back then.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's changed now. And, you know, I think of it as being still in the 80s somehow.
Yeah.
I wonder if it is. I don't know.
Well, it was fascinating. We did, the play was about the war, but we did obviously a lot of research.
Yeah.
And we did manage to have Zoom meetings with islanders and people who live there now, and the sort of main thing that came out of it is people adore living there, and particularly their ageing population. They're so looked after, they never have to worry about getting a doctor's appointment, they're cared for, they've got enough to live on. The cost of living there is surprisingly cheap, given that they have to import a lot of stuff, and people don't tend to leave as much as you'd think they would. That was interesting.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because it's so out there, isn't it? You know, it's like, and it's, I don't know what the population is.
I'm not sure. See, I might get it wrong if you look it up, but I know it went down. It went down to about 3,000 at one time, from what I remember. So
what was the name of the play?
It was called Falkland Sound.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And from a point of view of sort of learning about that, were you surprised by anything that you learned? You know, or it was characterised in such a way, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you know,
it was.
What
was fascinating was there were only a few of us my age or older.
Right.
So we were in the minority of people who actually remembered it. I remembered seeing it on the news and remembered what it felt like. And I remember as a kid thinking, they must be so cold and it's just so bleak and awful. But some of the stories that came out about things that did actually happen during that time, which we never did really know back then, were pretty horrific.
I imagine.
But also the kind of bravery and the sort of the community of the islanders is sort of
I imagine something like that happening where you live sort of makes the community cohesive in a way that lasts.
Yeah.
You know, that, you know, carries on through for decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of shared experience, even if it was one that you didn't live through yourself.
Yeah.
I imagine.
I think it is what they talk about, that kind of historical, you know, through line of people. Of course, there are people still living on the island who experienced it as kids, and their families have experienced the stories. And I've gone right off topic with being shirty about holidays.
But hey, I like it. I mean, the framework of the podcast is really there just to
have a natter.
Captain Google's got some information for you.
Go for it. That should be your new name.
I was thinking your superheroes.
Yeah, Captain Google. Go for it.
So, how many people did you think were on there? Did you say? Did you have a guess?
I thought it dropped to about 3,000 at one time, but then went off.
That's a good guess.
Went up to about 5.
No, it's a good guess. Well, 2021 census was 3,662.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite small, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really small.
No wonder they don't wait for the
But I think
that's probably not as many people as are in Southborough.
Yeah, I think that their economy has improved quite dramatically in the last few years, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well done, Captain Google.
Never thought I'd be talking about the Falklands at this.
No.
this podcast.
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't think it wasn't on my list of things I thought we'd talk about. But Rwanda was on there. I thought we'd talk about that because of because of your bike ride?
Yeah.
I bet that was, so how many miles was that in total?
It was 282 kilometres, but over 5 days, so it wasn't as bad as it sounded, but it was quite tough.
Yeah, I bet it was.
It was very tough. It's the land of 1,000 hills.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know before I signed up for that bike.
Yeah. As soon as you signed.
Got the information.
You do know it's the land of 1,000 hills. What?
Yeah.
That's 10-pole Tudor, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's very similar, actually, isn't it? Yeah.
And I think we went up every single one of them at some point. Yeah. It was...
So you're not a Brompton. Bromptons have come up.
Brompton. Oh, yeah. I'm obsessed with my Brompton.
Yeah. Well, it's in fact that's.
Do you lock it up?
No, it's in the boot of my car right now.
Oh, you're not allowed to lock it up. Good.
Yeah.
Not supposed
we
to.
had quite the Brompton chat with Adam Buxton.
Oh, really?
He's a Brompton. In fact, the
and
Brompton
James
was
mentioned
right there.
Brompton, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah, you're not meant to chain them up. Apparently, never leave them up chained.
I would never do that.
Take them with you.
Yeah.
Well, because the beauty of them is that you don't have to. You take them in.
Yeah. Well, exactly. You would think, but no, because Adam, he's had 2 Brompton stolen.
Oh, right. Yeah. See,
that's not good, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Brompton though, because he got the training and cycled up.
Oh, brilliant.
I was like, we can come and pick you up at the station. He was like, no,
don't need.
Google has told me it will be 12 minutes.
Google has told me it will be 12 minutes.
Exactly. He said it will be 12 minutes, and it was 12 minutes.
I should have done that. That's why I don't.
Well,
it didn't
it's a
occur
bit of
to
a
me.
cycle to. Well, get the.
Get the train.
I had an image of you cycling all the way from your place.
No, I mean that is the
On the
sort of thing I would set
M25.
myself to do, but not
With your
first thing on
headphones
a
on.
Tuesday morning.
That would have been a bit of an ask. A little bit of an ask. Well, look, so I think from a point of view, I think we've covered it. Unless you've got a desperate annoyance that you thought, I'm going to talk about that today. That's the thing I'm going to talk about.
I think I've mentioned all my.
Have you? That's pretty good. That's pretty. And I have to say,
they've organically come up.
Yeah.
All my annoyances.
Yeah, that's good. You've been pretty calm, actually.
Yeah, I think I'm quite calm. I'm annoyed, that I don't get offered more acting jobs, but that's not really anyone's fault. I can't blame anyone for that. That's just the way it is.
A bit of a sign of the times at the moment.
It's a bit grim out there right now. Yeah.
There's a podcast actually that's come up before, and the one that Doctors came up on, one of the ones that came up on that Richard Osman does, called The Rest is Entertainment. And they talk on there quite a lot about how the industry is going and how commissioners aren't commissioning the same amount of staff, and actually stuff's being made and then sits on a shelf because it's more financially viable for them to do that, because they don't have to pay until it's aired and all these sorts of things. You just think it's a tough old time.
It's a funny old time. Yeah, I was extremely lucky that my first year out of Doctors, it just all fell into place, and I went sort of job to job to job, and then I finished at the RSC in November. And it was like dropping off the edge of a cliff, because I hadn't had to worry about it for so long. It hit me like a ton of bricks, and
I bet.
I'm now sort of trying to be cool about it. Hope something happens, but
Yeah. So is it now you're sort of in the auditions and sort of putting yourself up for things? Or?
But I'm finding very much, I was up for a couple of things before Christmas, which were sort of very definitely my level, like a small run of Importance of Being Earnest in Colchester. Nothing too glamorous, but a good job that I would have taken.
Yeah.
And another tour of a play. And I recently looked up the people who got the jobs that I didn't get. And they were very much established television people who were much more established than me, much more accomplished than me.
Right.
And I thought that's what's happening is the next level up from me is dropping down. So then we're going down here and being sort of slightly pushed out the side, which is what I fear is happening.
Right.
But there's nothing you can other than being ready and match fit when something does come up. There's not a lot you can do about it.
Award at people. Yeah. Say, look, look
at me.
Look, I'm an award-winning actress. That's what we won an award a few years ago, and we forever just going, hello.
Yes.
It was only a local business award. Yeah.
Who cares? Yeah, mine was only a soap award.
But that's how brilliant. Best comedic performance, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very good too. I know, but I've seen you've been nominated, a lot of nominations as well, which is good, isn't it?
I've done my gracious but disappointed loser face on several occasions.
And did you practice that beforehand? Yeah. Yeah. That's very good. That was very good. We should have filmed that. That was very good. What was I listening to? Sharon Stone talks about having to do that at the Oscars on something I was listening to recently. But she'd been sort of given the nod by somebody beforehand that you're not going to win this.
Oh, well,
Francis Ford Coppola actually said, you won't win this because they don't want you to win it, so be ready. And he said that to her apparently a few weeks beforehand so that she could be prepared. And she was like crushed at the time, but then sort of was like, oh, thank you for
I sort of had a weird opposite to that. A few years previous to the time I actually won, I was again up for comedy and they put me in the front row.
Right.
And of course you immediately slightly go,
hang on.
And just before they were like, Felix Schofield did his, and coming up next we have award for the best comedy performance. And the floor manager with his microphone walked past me and went, don't you go anywhere. And everyone in my team like heard that and went, did you hear that? And then there was a camera right there. And I now think they just wanted my reaction when I didn't. It was horrible.
Oh, I bet
it was horrible.
Yeah, you're all G'd up.
I was just like, and then...
Because it's quite nerve-wracking as well, I imagine. That horrible. Sort of, I might have to go out there and say something.
Oh, it's horrible, yeah. But the lovely thing about the year that I did win was because it had happened so many times that I didn't, I was so convinced it never would or never could that I was incredibly laid back. And when they called my name, it was a few seconds before I was like, oh, you mean, it's me.
Oh, yeah,
people were going, shoot, go.
Wow. Oh, great.
So it's a funny old thing.
And at those awards, is it right that like there's big fist fights between all the different soaps in the car park afterwards, surely?
I think it has happened.
Has it? I mean, obviously,
not me. I haven't ever been involved in a fist fight.
No. But is it quite? I was being silly, obviously. But is it quite territorial? Is it like?
No, I think
EastEnders and Emmerdale are sort of.
People are very sort of proud of their particular thing, but in actual fact, everyone's got mates in the other soap, so it's quite jolly, really.
And all the soaps get together and beat up Ant and Dec.
Yeah, well, they could. Yeah. I know. Are they ever not going to win that award? Because that's what is it? They've won the National TV Award for
20 odd years.
Best presenters. Yeah. There'll be a year when they don't. Surely they'll have to break it before everybody else does. I don't know. There you go. Oh yeah, so is it nice though? An award? Is it a good award ceremony? Is there a meal on that with that one, or is it just drink?
It's bonkers. Mm. It's of all the awards you can go to, it's probably one of the least classy. Only just above the Inside Soap Awards, which is the worst.
Oh, is it?
I would never go to that again. That was awful.
Really? Why? Bit of a bun fight, or was it? Or
they just weren't interested in us doctors.
Right.
They were very snooty about us.
Were they?
They had a long carpet full of all the people wanting to interview you, and we just got ushered, like, no, and we kept being ushered along,
Which is weird, isn't it? Because doctors, I think, does something that the others don't do. Yeah. Because it's, I mean, for one, just the sheer number of episodes and what it covers and how quickly it covers it, and and everything else, you would think.
They weren't.
Actually, it sort of sets itself above in that respect.
Yeah, I think just because it was daytime. It was sort of looked down upon a bit, and obviously much cheaper than every other.
Yeah, hasn't got the same budget.
But there is no inside info. There is no soap awards this year.
Is there not?
I decided to.
And are we allowed to broadcast that?
I don't know. I think it's common knowledge, and I don't know if it's because of the Philip Schofield thing.
I suppose like most of these things, they've got to pay for themselves somehow.
Yeah.
Because I saw a stat about the TV ratings, and in the top 100 shows, like the highest rated soap was like at number 67.
Yeah.
Out of the weekly ongoing dramas, and it's number one was Call the Midwife. That's the top watched programme.
I'm not surprised because I think people have got so much choice now with streaming stuff that
it's incredible.
That the draw of like a nightly soap is just not as.
It's not the same, is it?
No,
it's not the same. There are no more
I can't
niggles.
think, no.
I think we've.
I'm just
I think we've
happy
covered
with
all the
everything
worlds.
else in my life.
Yeah.
I'm delighted with the world.
That's no bad way to be, is it? But on that, I'll say thank you very much for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, real pleasure. And we hopefully you'll come back and talk to us again.
Love to, and I
That'd be great.
cannot wait to see my shirt.
I know. I'm looking forward to seeing it on the catwalk.
Yes, going to have
Thank
a very
you so
special
much.
catwalk.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So a massive thank you to Sarah for taking the time to come and see us and to chat with us. Such a pleasure to sit and chat with her and hear all about her amazing career. Did make me think though what my superhero name might be. I've not come up with it yet, but if you've got a really cool superhero name for yourself, feel free to tweet it to us. We'd love to hear them. As always, a massive thank you to Stuart Wilson for production and editing, to Sam for keeping us on track, and to Dat Hazza for the music on our episodes. Until we speak again, do try not to get too shirty.